Hi, I'm really glad to welcome everybody here to visit Bowman Orchards in Rexford, New York. We have Kevin Bowman here that we're going to talk about a brand new expansion that they've made to their farm store and how they do some marketing here at Bowman Orchards. I think you're going to be really impressed. So, Kevin, it's been a couple years since I've been here, and
Shame on you.
I just want to make sure that folks understand how large this operation is. Could you just give a little rundown of the size of the operation, what you're selling, a couple of the market channels that you have?
Okay. And I'll start that by going back a little bit. When I was a kid, the farm was 100% wholesale. And then it was back in the early 70s that we started ENYCHP. And now our farm is probably 98%, this year maybe 99%, retail. And obviously in New York, we have to try to get as much dollars as we can. And so the entire shift has been to the retail side of the business.
Great. And so you are selling primarily tree fruit, or I know you have berries.
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of ENYCHP on berries early, and then this time of year we're doing berries in the store, and then we also have a stand on Grooms Road where we sell the majority of our berries through. And that's an evolving process.
So the ENYCHP is ongoing throughout the summer and into the fall. And then are you doing any farmers markets anymore?
We don't do any farmers markets anymore. We quit them probably 3 years ago.
Okay.
When we got the farm stand on Grooms Road, we just literally couldn't do both, and that's something that we had more control over as opposed to the farmers markets. And so that just suited our business model better.
Okay. And then 2 years ago, you opened up your new store.
We did. We had hoped to open it 3 years ago, but the building permitting process had other ideas for us, so we're a year behind on that. And so this is actually our second year in the new building.
All right. And, the one thing that I really loved when we walked in there is that the produce room, your farmer's market where you have the cold room.
The cold room.
Truck, that is really terrific.
Yep. And, we always tell people don't buy apples and leave them sitting on the counter. And what do most farm stands do? They leave the apples sitting on the counter. And so that's counterproductive to, we want people to have a really good eating experience. So we want to keep them as cold as long as possible. And so we keep that room about 41. It's not as cold as our coolers would be, but it certainly helps maintain the freshness.
Yeah.
And people in our old building, we used to have the plastic strips hanging that you had to fight your way through, and people really kind of like this way a whole lot better, and we like it better too.
Yeah, that's great. And then it allows you to sell a lot of related products, value added, and other kinds of things in that front part of the store. Plus the fudge. It looks like you have an entire line of fudge and candies.
Yeah, and you're here fairly early in the fudge season. I mean, the summertime is not big fudge time, but then we'll get into the fudge apples and the caramel apples, and it just kind of explodes.
Wow.
And we moved it all up into that building because it's it's air conditioned, it's climate controlled. What happens to a fudge apple when it's 90 degrees outside? So that has really helped us, and it helps us. We sell more fudge that way.
Yeah. The one thing that we really try to talk to guys, not that I'm an expert on farm stand design at all, but a thing that I think could easily be improved by a lot of our farm stands is the lighting. And your stand has really terrific lighting. It looks like almost 3 levels of different lights, which is very helpful, just makes it seem bright and airy and open.
But we had someone that is actually what they do.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm an apple grower. I know nothing about lights. And he was extremely helpful, and told us just what we needed to do. And, hopefully it worked out,
So I just want to go back to the displays and the lighting and the signage. Did you get anybody? I mean, it sounds like you worked with somebody who's a professional in lighting. What about the building design and traffic flow and displays? Did you work with a professional on some of
No,
that? Okay.
we kind of had some ideas, and we were kind of set up to do that, but then just the timing didn't work out. But we go to the NAFMA conferences every year, so we have hundreds of other people that have done this. So I really shouldn't say we did it on our own, because we didn't. But in talking to a lot of those members, and I would encourage anybody that's in farm market retail that you need to be a part of NAFMA, because you'll get ideas from all across the country. And the neat thing is, we did take our building plans with us to those meetings, and that year there was a session on new building design, so we were able to gather input from people that have made the mistakes in the past.
Great, great. Do you think, have you found anything you would have liked to have done differently at this point?
Yeah, it's not big enough. And everybody always says that, but we were kind of limited in what we could do. But yeah, we've...
But despite of that, I like the fact that you've taken all these different outbuildings and everything serves a purpose. So you're able to kind of help distribute the crowd nicely on this kind of small, this retail campus kind of right here, which is terrific. Having all these outbuildings is really nice.
It's a great thing when you're really busy.
Yeah.
But it's not a good thing end of the season, because you can't staff all those buildings because you're not that busy.
Yeah.
So that's where it'd be really nice to be able to change the building around. And we do some of that, but to a bigger extent.
That's great. So do you have any specific advice for any farmers who are interested in building a farm stand or planning to expand their existing stands? You
want my honest opinion? No. Just don't try to do it in a hurry. We literally, that store was something we'd been working on for over 10 years, to gather ideas. I mean, we've been all over the world. When we went to New Zealand, I was looking at apple trees and my wife was looking at stands and roadside stands, those kind of things. And so, just take your time, and you know what it costs to get a college education. So don't be afraid to throw some money and travel and see what other people are doing.
And as far as trying to keep up with whether or not this investment is paying off, have you ever participated in any of, some lenders have benchmarking services for farm stands. Have you ever gone through that process?
We did that for, through Farm Credit. We did that for, I think, 3 years.
Okay.
And we're now still part of a simplified version of that benchmarking process. And we found that very helpful. It would be more helpful if more people would get involved, because, every farm stand is different, and when you go throwing in a garden center kind of thing compared to a farm stand, you're going to look at the numbers and you're going to be depressed. So we need more farm stands to be involved in that. And we learned pretty quickly that people don't come to the farm to buy vegetables. They go to the farm stand because it's, right on their way. And, we're not that far out of the way, but, we're a little bit of a drive. And so for us to sell vegetables here, it just doesn't work. People come to the farm for the fruits. The vegetables just do not work here.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because people know us for U-Pick. And, although they'll come to the store and buy peaches and they'll buy apples that they can't buy other places, we couldn't sell a squash for nothing.
Well, I think that's a good point, because a lot of people, when they buy vegetables, they're going home to make dinner.
Right.
They're going to use those vegetables.
It's on the way home.
Yes, it's just pick up things.
Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, I just, I think the fact that you're this kind of little oasis and those of you who've been to Rexford, or this area of Clifton Park, it's quite suburban, and Bowman's Orchard is kind of this little oasis. We're not going to get into the challenges that production in that kind of a situation leads to, but it's really nice to have a place for folks to go especially during this pandemic. I think this is an extremely high payback for a low risk activity. Lots of fun to be had here. So, Kevin, I really want to thank you for taking some time talking about the farm stand.
No problem. Thanks for doing it.
Sure.
And, help anybody we can.